everybody, and welcome to Powerful Stuff. It's your girl Meredith, back for our weekly dose of that power that adds to our stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we've done a lot the last few weeks. We've alchemized imposter syndrome. We've pivoted into our passion. We've cut energetic cords with those who do not no longer serve us. And I thought to myself, I'm always real with you guys. Let's be real. But let me be even more real with you guys this week of something that has been on my heart that I go through. I go through everything that we've talked about, to be honest, but this has been extra present the last few weeks. And let's just go through it together. And that is this feeling of belonging. Every now and then, we all deal with wanting to belong, desire belonging within ourselves, belonging with other groups of people. It's why I help coach people on inner and outer connection. And it's why I've started, more of that with my friend Eric Dibbig to help people find connection and belonging IRL. And now with Powerful Stuff, helping you find inner and outer connection with our Powerful Stuff episodes and, the experiences that I'm bringing under Powerful Stuff for more of that. And it's so funny because as an extrovert and someone who's literally made my life around this, I myself the last few weeks have found myself having those little feelings of, do I belong coming up in various situations? And I'll go into those in just a second. But I will say that when we look at these feelings, and not to say, oh no, I'm an extrovert or I'm a coach, so I shouldn't be having these feelings. It's like a continual upward spiral. So the work for me, the invitation for me, and the invitation for you is when those feelings come up to welcome them in, to say, okay, my inner child needs a little extra love and attention, or maybe I'm about to expand into that next version of myself and these things are flaring up because they're trying to keep me safe and comfortable. We can get on board with that. We get it. And it's to give ourselves that extra reassurance and that extra internal validation that we do belong. And what do we need to cultivate that internal belonging? That gives us that steadfast connection that we can then take to the external world. And that, my friends, is what creates the peace, the inner peace, the relaxed confidence, and ultimately the magnetism. And of course, a lot of us start our life's work from, a pain point that we've alchemized or overcome. And I think I've told you guys, but, for me, if we rewind it back, and this is like a helpful thing for you of kind of step one. Well, okay, let me rewind before we go into step one. I'm just going to give you guys some of the context. So of course I host all these events. I love planning things for my friends. And of course, I make time for my internal belonging, but we are all human. We all go through it. And yeah, even as extroverted as I am, I have times where I walk into a room and don't know anyone and I'm like, fuck, or like, oh my gosh, all these cliques are friends and I don't know them and will they invite me into their circle? And that's why with more of that and Powerful Stuff, I've created all these permission slips throughout our experiences to meet new people, to have an icebreaker, to get out of the group that you came with, because I know how it feels to be on the other side. And I want to create that safety, that comfort, that ease to come in and to be able to connect with people in an authentic way. And so, yeah, a few weeks ago, I was at my friend's festival and I had good friends at the festival, but I found myself at times like eyeing other like groups of friends and being like, oh, they're all so connected, or like maybe, we've all like, some of us, or we all are still friends, like all of us who have been to the festival 4 years in a row, but we've all grown in our own beautiful and different ways. And we've developed new friendships, and it's like seeing everyone with their new friends and, like having gratitude for that friendship, but also a little bit of like potentially like grief of like, oh, acceptance of what was and allowance for what is in the current state. And so I found myself at the festival having great connections with individual people and old and new friends, but then also sometimes found myself looking at different friend groups being like, oh, they're like in their own clique or inner circle and I'm on the outside, like the old Meredith inner middle school stories coming up. And so when those came up, I started to like look at those with curiosity of like, okay, where is this coming from? What do I need to give myself in this moment? And like the old Meredith, kind of before doing my own self-development work or Hoffman work, like would have felt like, oh, I'm not enough. And I would have either kind of like isolated or tried really, really hard to force a connection with someone. That was another pattern of like wanting to feel included externally that I like, would linger around or try to like really be in those conversations and like almost too proactive versus just kind of like being with the flow of like, what do I need? And then like connecting or talking to those people as it feels aligned. So it was firstly like noticing that voice was coming up and like celebrating my awareness for having that voice, and then kind of just taking myself for a solitary grounding moment, maybe meditating or closing my eyes of like, what story is coming up? What is that story telling me? What do I need? What does inner middle school Meredith need to know that I love her no matter what, whether this person talks to her or not, whether she's in this crew or not. And also like recognizing and having grace. Like I'm at a festival with a lot of different energies and like a lot of friends that I love. And like I said, like a lot of us have new friends. Some of us are, all of us are still good friends individually, but those have morphed and changed over time. And there's like a whole new group of people, and like letting and allowing that change to be beautiful. And so that was kind of the noticing there. And then I felt it, again, the last few weeks. I think it's a product of summer with all these events and experiences, being out and about, so many weddings. When I was at another event and there was like a group people that I knew individually, but like they had all been through an experience together and had their friend group from that. And it was almost like a reunion for them, for their friend group. And so it's like, I was chatting with these people, but they were all kind of in their energy of like reunion time, which I totally would be too, if I had all of my besties from a certain point in my life, with me at that time. And I've been in that place. And so I was like, okay, if it's coming up again, like the festival and this other event, it's coming up for me to look at it. There's like a moment of internal belonging that I can sit with, and it's time for me to reaffirm that I already belong. And, part of me, like the helicopter mom part, I noticed that voice saying like, well, you're already a coach. You're already doing all these things for powerful stuff and more of that. You shouldn't need to feel like you belong. Of course you already belong. Like intellectually, why are you even having to heal this, But then I was like, okay, I accept that in this moment, I don't feel that. That doesn't mean that I don't belong. It's just meaning that in this moment, I feel like that. And that is a-okay. And so I noticed the helicopter mom voice too. And it's like, even though I'm a coach that coaches people on this, even though I have an experience company around this, it's okay for me to be feeling this, and let me look at it, because how wonderful that I can be my own client zero as a coach and put my money where my mouth is for my coaching and for my experience companies by truly walking the walk myself. And so, what I did is kind of rewinded it back to like, middle school Meredith, and sitting with middle school Meredith, like closing my eyes. What is that initial memory that's coming up around, when I started feeling these feelings of not belonging in middle school? And for me, it was when I went from a private school of like 6 kids in my class in elementary school to a public school of like 300 kids in my grade. And I remember in 6th grade, I was like, kind of like the tall, awkward, gangly girl. I didn't have that many friends because I came from this private school. So I like threw myself into like my studies in 6th grade, and it was like teacher's pet. And I'd get like upset if I got a 95 instead of 100, which I think other kids found annoying. and also like there were girls that I knew from like who had gone to my private school at some point, but then had gone to a public elementary school. So they had more friends. And I would like sit by the phone before our cell phones in middle school and like wait for the phone to ring, hoping it was someone to like invite me to hang out. And once I did invite a few girls to go to the movies in 6th grade, and they said they couldn't make it, my dad took me. And then when my dad and I were at the movies, we ran into these girls, and that was heart-wrenching, but also at the same time I look back and I'm like, what a sweet dad to take me and to have that special father-daughter moment. But anyways, all of that's to say that's like middle school Meredith. And of course, since then, I'm so glad that it's happened, because it's made me who I am today. And it's made me care so deeply about like looking at my internal value, valuing myself, and also valuing making other people feel at home and connected in different experiences. And so, gosh, guys, thanks for going on this winding journey with me. It's truly a talk therapy session today. So we're just all in it together. And how great is that? But yeah, the first step for you, if you're like noticing that you're not feeling like you belong in a certain situation, is just to let that like voice like speak. Like, what is it telling you? What are the things it's telling you? Kind of like what we did in the imposter syndrome, to alchemize the imposter syndrome. What is the voice telling you about not belonging? Why is it feeling like you don't belong? What are certain things, like stories it's telling you? And kind of like Brene Brown says, to remove you from the story or you from the judgment, saying like, the story I'm telling myself is blank. The story I'm telling myself is that I don't belong. The story I'm telling myself is that those people don't want to be friends with me. The story I'm telling myself is blank. And then after you do that first step, it's really like closing your eyes, which we'll do together, and tapping into that elementary school or middle school version of you, wherever it felt like you don't belong, and connecting with them and seeing like what they're feeling right now and what do they need from you to trust you to cultivate that belonging. So we'll go ahead and just do it right now. So closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in and exhaling it out, letting it go. Another breath in to power down your thinking mind, and exhale, letting it go. And imagine that you're walking on a beach, feeling the sun on your skin and the wind in your hair. And you come to a beautiful, beautiful magic carpet. And you step onto the magic carpet, and on it is a button that says belonging. And you press the button, and the magic carpet gently lifts you up over the sky, up through the clouds, to a scene from your younger years, your childhood self or your adolescence, where you first felt maybe like you didn't belong. Stepping off the magic carpet into this scene, looking around, noticing how old you are in the scene. Noticing who else is in the scene. Just noticing with complete curiosity what's happening in the scene to make your younger self feel like they don't belong. And then as you look at that, coming to your younger self and just asking them, why do they feel like they don't belong? Letting them speak. Just being a safe space for them without judgment. And then asking them, what do they need from you to feel belonging with you first and foremost? What do they need from you? What trust could you build with them for them to know that they belong? Letting them know that you can do that you love them unconditionally, giving them a hug, feeling their heartbeat sync with yours as you both take a deep breath in, feeling that belonging, and exhale, letting it go. And as you take this belonging with you, you get back onto the magic carpet and you press the word belong again. And the magic carpet once again lifts up higher through these clouds now to where the sky touches space, and you get off at the scene from present day. But this time you feel that internal belonging. You know that you've got your middle school you no matter what. And you look at the scene with compassion, with objectivity. And you start to move through the scene now with that sense of belonging. How are you showing up differently in your energy and your demeanor? Knowing that you belong no matter what, regardless of other people. how you're interacting with them, but also how does this internal belonging shift your interactions with them? How does it shift your energy, and thus how does it shift the energy of those around you? And how does you knowing that you belong actually give even more permission to the others around you to feel at ease and belonging? And as you feel that relaxed ease, noticing how it ripples into the other areas of your life, not just this scene, but all areas, to know that you belong. And then with this belonging, getting back on the magic carpet, pressing the belong button, slowly lowering down through the sky, down through the clouds, landing softly on the beach once more, taking a deep breath in and exhaling it out. Another deep breath in and exhale, opening your eyes, returning to the space. And I just want you to take a few moments to write down like a letter to your younger middle school self or your elementary school self of how you get it, how you get why they feel that way, and how they do actually belong, and how no matter what, you're not going anywhere. And I'll start, just by speaking mine out loud, and then you can pause it and write yours too. Like Meredith, it totally makes sense that you would have these little moments, even if they're not true, even if other people do actually want you there, you do have a lot of friends. It's okay that you're feeling this way and that these moments come up because, you did have those moments in middle school where those girls didn't know better. They were also all just trying to fit in, but you felt, alone in middle school, and it was scary. It was scary going from an elementary school to a middle school that big, and for putting yourself out there and desiring friendship and connection. And I want to say I'm proud of you for doing that, for putting yourself out there. And I'm also proud of you for the work you've done in middle school and beyond to know that your value doesn't depend on, the acceptance of others, but that from that painful experience in middle school, not only did you learn to rely on yourself for that validation by letting go of the need for popularity, writing for the Houston Chronicle, running marathons for team and training in high school, and eventually cultivating belonging through team and training and recruiting friends in high school that you made to do that with you. But it's also, become a core part of your mission in this world. And so I'm proud of you for going through it. I feel like you had to go through it to get to where you are today, to cultivate belonging and permission for yourself and spaces that give that to others. And the fact that you're still getting to go through it at these festivals or at these events is a sign of your humanity and your humility, and a reminder too to treat everyone with equanimity, not just the groups that you want to be a part of or that you deem popular, but to bring that that same presence or excitement you would have to connect with them with any other person at the festival or any other person at the event, which includes yourself in the moments alone. And so I think this is a really powerful reminder for you to know that your belonging is found from within, and that having those middle school desires are a reminder to continue to keep that conversation with your inner self alive. Okay, guys, that was my note to myself. So go ahead and pause the recording and do it for yourself. Wow. Hopefully that felt so healing for you. And what you do after this, so we've kind of looked at what the belonging, those old stories have said to us. Then we've written our middle school self that letter. And then I want you to write, how does the you who belong show up? How do you show up for yourself, and how do you show up for others? And you can write about it in the context of this specific situation and then zoom it out to include other areas of your situation. And again, I'll start. So the Meredith who knows she belongs takes time for herself, even in festivals or large group weekends, to connect to herself, to hear what she has to say, because she knows that that is the most important relationship of her life. The Meredith who knows she belongs is excited to connect with different people, and knows that she can enter a conversation and be curious and be listening and add value and add presence and she doesn't need to be. If a situation doesn't feel good or a conversation doesn't feel open, that the Meredith who knows she belongs trusts in her value to just redirect that simply, to not put a story behind it, to know that's a them thing, and to turn to someone else who is excited for that connection. The Meredith who knows she belongs indiscriminately connects with people, meaning that she doesn't put extra emphasis on certain groups or people, but she's excited to learn everyone's stories. The Meredith who knows she belongs is magnetic because she is deeply present with herself and with others. And the Meredith who knows she belongs views each conversation as a co-creation, as an unfolding. She doesn't need to prove. She doesn't need to prove her accolades. She doesn't need to suck up to someone who's done something cool or something that she's admired, because she also knows she has value to bring to that present conversation and is excited to see what unfolds when both parties are fully present. And so now that I've tapped into that energy of who that Meredith is, who's cultivated belonging, I want you guys to do the same. Who is that version of you who knows that they belong? What are you doing for yourself and what are you doing for others? And really tap into that feeling. Who is that version of you who knows they belong? I need to write a song called We Belong or You Belong. I think I have. It's in one of my journals, but guys, watch this space because that's going to be a new single, because we all need to hear I belong, you belong, we belong, and we all need to hear I am enough, you are enough, we are enough. Okay, now that you've done that, the last little thing, which you know I love to end with a good action item, is ending with a good action item for yourself. What's one thing you can do to cultivate inner belonging this week? Whether it's a self-care date, a bath, a journaling session, kind of going on a walk where you talk to yourself and get all your thoughts out. And by the way, that action item could already be just going through the action items that we did together today. You just carving out this time for yourself is really powerful because you're already showing yourself that you belong. And what is that one thing you can do to cultivate belonging with others this week? Is it asking the barista at your favorite cafe a question, smiling to someone on the street? Is it including someone who just moved to this city to join a group outing of yours? What is something that you can do to cultivate outer belonging this week as well? Because we strengthen the inner when we strengthen the outer. And when we are an example of the type of people we want to attract, who are proactive in including us and making us feel belonging, we attract those people by being the catalyst ourselves, which you guys know I am a huge proponent of. So one thing I'm going to do to cultivate inner belonging this week, guys, is I am going to do a little solo hike in Jackson Hole this week. I'm going to Jackson Hole for a friend's wedding, and I'm going to do a little solo hike where I kind of think about the state of my relationship with myself, and kind of also on that hike remind myself of all the ways that I have cultivated belonging for myself, that I've already been doing it and that I'll continue to do it. And the outer connection that I'm doing this week is I created a 4th of July party for tomorrow and just have been inviting a lot of friends and new friends, people to come through and to feel like love and connection and community on that day. Because last week I was like, no one's doing anything for the 4th of July. And I didn't want to be in a position where I'm like waiting for invites and stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to create the invite. I'm going to create the party, and I'll have people come to me and have them feel excited that they were hopefully excited that they were invited to something and that they have plans on the 4th. So those are my inner and outer. Let me know, email me, DM me what your inner and outer belonging questions are. And I just want to say, like, it's an ongoing journey, and it's kind of like, cultivating any relationship or helping any plant grow. It's not like letting ourselves know one time that we belong. It's that constant reminder, like I was saying with middle school Meredith, or even though I've done the Hoffman process and plant medicine ceremonies and have my own coach, it's like constant maintenance to show that we do care about the relationship. We do want to invest in it just like we would with the friendship. It's like doing that with ourselves. And, being at this festival and at that other event this summer was a reminder of that. It's a reminder, of course, I do already belong. And even though I can intellectually know that, it's just time for me to remind myself about it. It doesn't mean anything about anyone else at the festival or that they weren't welcoming. It was just that my stories were creeping up. So it was time to have that moment with myself. And I'm really proud of myself that I did both. At the festival, I took like an hour each day to journal and to meditate and to read my book and to check in with what those stories were telling me, so I didn't let them control me. And I think that helped break whatever past cycles of then just like being present, showing up, allowing what is, and being grateful for who is, being grateful for the conversations I did have, the people that were around me, the new friends that were around me. And it helped me really return to gratitude when I stopped focusing on who wasn't or who I wasn't connecting with, and more like, oh my gosh, I now have friends at this festival that I've wanted to be friends with, and here we are as friends. I have friends that I've been friends with for 4 years, and it's deepening in new ways. And all of the stuff that I kind of told you at the beginning of the episode of like, the shifts, it's like I was starting to see like all of the positive spin-offs of that, and all the ways that like things actually were happening for me, and all of the beautiful connections that were all around me, and focusing on those and letting myself magnetize or trust who I meant to connect with, I will. And that is my hope for you guys, that as these voices come up, to know that nothing's wrong, you are not broken, you are not unhealed. It's just maintenance in your relationship. It's just time for like your inner child needing some reassurance, needing some extra TLC, needing some extra love. And as our parents of our inner child, we are here for it. We love them unconditionally, and we are happy to remind them whenever they might need, and that we get to be invited to continue to be the catalyst for belonging in the lives of others. How cool is that? So I hope this was powerful for you. I was going to say what I always say, as powerful for you as it was for me. Thanks for going on this journey with me. You belong, and I belong, and we belong. And thank you for showing up for yourself in this episode today by being here, by listening to it. And I'm excited to see how that unfolds as we move forward into the rest of the week, the month, the year, with that inner unshakable sense of that deep internal connection, which then is such a gift to the people in our lives. Having that internal connection allows us to even more deeply connect with them. And how powerful is that? Wow. I will see you guys next week for more powerful stuff. Hey, you. Thank you for coming on this powerful journey with me. I hope it was as powerful for you as it was for me. And if it was, it would mean the world to me if you rate, review, and subscribe to Powerful Stuff, so I can keep bringing you the goods. We can keep going on this transformative journey together. And if there's powerful stuff that you want to share with me, with the Powerful Stuff community, tag us on Instagram at That's Powerful Stuff or the Meredith Baker. And I look forward to seeing you next week for